everyone. Welcome to our Risale Academy lecture series. It's a great opportunity to be with you today. And I'm very excited that we are going to have this lecture tonight. This is Züleyha Çolak, senior lecturer at Columbia University and a member of Respect Graduate School family, serving in some capacities to our larger community. In this precious moment, we are here today to share with you a very hot topic of interest and an existential question and eye-opening lecture about afterlife. Most people say there is no way we can know or be sure about whether or not there is an afterlife. And the only way is to choose the option to believe, because how do we know? Did anyone go there and came back? Is there any way we can talk about afterlife with rational evidence? Well, that is our topic today. Ibn Sina, Avicenna, said that resurrection cannot be understood by rational criteria. His judgment was that we must believe in resurrection, but reason cannot aid our belief. Similarly, all the scholars of Islam unanimously have held that resurrection rests entirely on traditional proofs. It cannot be rationally examined. We are here today with our esteemed guest, Professor Zeki Saritoprak, who will give us a lecture about Said Nursi's perspective of afterlife with providing some rational evidence. As most of you know, he's an esteemed professor of religious studies for the last 30 years or so. And I would like to briefly introduce Dr. Saritoprak for you. Professor Dr. Zeki Saritoprak received his PhD in Islamic theology from the University of Marmara in Turkey and has authored more than 30 academic articles and encyclopedia entries on topics of Islam, in addition to his latest books on Islamic spirituality and Islam's Jesus. He also has a book project coming up soon on the concept of death and afterlife. And it will come out from Cambridge University Press. And the tentative title of the book is The Death and Beyond in Islamic Eschatology. So in our understanding, one of the most precious connections we may have with people around us is through learning from them. So with your permission, I would like to call Professor Saritoprak as Hocam, which means my dear esteemed teacher, my dear master. So I would also like to introduce my dear friend, Yonara Barbosa, and she is a dear friend for me for the journey of understanding our existential questions. And the reason I invited her to this discussion today is to benefit from her reactions, her questions, and, to have a lively discussion. So with your permission, I would like to give the microphone to Professor Dr. Zeki Saritoprak for our lecture today on afterlife. Please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Züleyha. It is a great honor, a great pleasure to be on your program. Inshallah, I will do my best to talk about the concept of afterlife in the writings of Nursi. Of course, when we say in the writing of Nursi, what are the writings of Nursi? They are commentaries of the Quran. So basically what Nursi does is interpreting the Quranic verses based on the understanding of our time, because he lived in our time. He died in 1960, so he is contemporary, and therefore he understands the current challenges the current philosophical questions. And based on those questions, he responds to this concept. And of course, based on that, he interprets the Quranic verses. So if we say what is the largest work that Nursi has done on the concept of afterlife, would be the 10th word. As we know, Nursi numbered his writings. So for example, the book that is called The Words has 33 words in it, 33 words. So the 10th word, which is a large one, you can call them chapter if you like, but Nursi doesn't call them chapter because he has a structure in his writings. All his writings are actually a complete structure. They complete each other. They build upon each other. And therefore, if you look at them, you will see that design. It's wonderfully designed. So this 10th chapter is about afterlife. He calls it the Treatise of Resurrection. We can call it resurrection because he said Hashr Risale-i. Hashr means gathering in the afterlife. So there will be a death, all people will die, and then they will be resurrected, and they will have a gathering when people will be questioned about their deeds in this world, and good people will be in paradise, bad people will be in hell. That is resurrection, and gathering place is related in this work. There's one book that Nursi basically talks about afterlife, and it is available in English. People who like to have details of this talk, they can find that book and read it from Turkish one if they know Turkish, and from English one if they like to read from the translation of the original one. So I will elaborate on some of those aspects that Nursi mentions, inshallah, as much as I could. And I think the second important work that Nursi elaborates on the concept of afterlife is the 29th word, part of it. One part is about the spirit, the concept of spirit in Islam. And the second part is about afterlife. So he gives some logical arguments, basically. So when we say afterlife, what is afterlife? What is the importance of it? First of all, for someone to understand afterlife, they have to believe in God. And that's why Nursi, in his 10th word, in his, let me call it the Treatise of Resurrection, in his Treatise of Resurrection, he elaborates first on the existence of God. And he clearly says, very beautifully and very powerfully, can you imagine a letter without a writer? Can you imagine, you see a letter on a paper. Could that be without a writer? Or could be a program without an engineer, etc. There is basically all these creations, and members of this creation, elements of this creation are like letters, and there is an author for them. And that's why Nursi would elaborate on this. There would be call for prayer, and I thought it might we might continue. Let's continue. So And that's why first he says, we have to believe in God. This universe cannot be done randomly. And since it cannot be done randomly, there is a creator of it. And then he proves that if there is creator for this universe, this creator will describe himself to people. And for that, he will send prophets to people to indicate who is the creator. And then he says, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, as the last of the chain of the prophethood that explained for us the creator. And then from there, he goes to the divine names. How divine names require the concept of afterlife. One thing that is, he mentions many divine names, actually, many divine names. I will just focus on two of them that Nursi says, these are definitely requiring the existence of the afterlife. There should be an afterlife. It is necessary. Now, because we have short period of time, it is not possible to have all those information that is in his book to put in this short period of time. But just to give a sense of it. For example, he says the divine name Al-Adl. Al-Adl. God is the most just. Adl is justice, but also extreme just, the one who is extremely just, is also called Adl, justice, because justice becomes like kind of the nature, the attribute, and that's actually known also as an attribute of God, Al-Adl, justice or the just. We see in this world that justice is not fulfilled fully. Then how this will be fulfilled? A criminal who is murdering thousands of people, who is responsible for the killing of thousands of people, dies without any punishment in this world. He escapes punishment. Even the punishment that is applied is simple in comparison to the level of the crime. So Nursi says that since we see in this world the reflection of the balance that is put by God in this universe, and since this justice is not compatible, the incomplete of justice is not compatible with this perfection that we see in the balance of this universe, there must be another place. There must be, Nursi says. It's not possible. He says there must be. It is necessary. There has to be a place that the justice is fulfilled. And that is afterlife. So for example, people may escape the police, may escape the law, may escape the authority, and die without being punished for their crimes. But in the afterlife, there will be judgment. Another name for the afterlife, the day of judgment. Who is the judge? Allah, God, will judge people. And Nursi elaborates beautifully that whatever human beings do is recorded. And that's very Islamic theological concept. Angels are recording what people have done. And they will see their crimes, those who are criminals. They will be punished according to their crimes. And this punishment will be so much just that even those who are punished will be saying that I deserve this. This punishment is really just. And those will be there. So this is the divine name, Al-Adl, the just, Allah as the just, will be fully reflected in the afterlife, even to the extent that animals who did injustice to other animals, they will also have certain level of punishment, because the utmost level of justice requires that there should be a full justice in the afterlife, even in the realm of animals, because animals may have transgressed knowingly or unknowingly, and animals will be unknowingly, they do that. Even they are not conscious, but they will be reflection of the divine justice. And that's why it is narrated that, let's say, an animal who has horns and bothers the other animal who does not have, that animal's right will be taken from the animals who has horns, because that animal did injustice to the weak one. So the oppressors in the realm of humanity will be punished in the afterlife because of their oppression. Pharaoh will be punished. In the same way, Moses will be rewarded. That is taking me to the next important divine name, and that is Rahim and Rahman. These divine names require that in the afterlife, the people who have done good things and they have not received any reward, they should be rewarded. They should be rewarded because they did utmost level of goodness, but they did not really receive something that deserved what they have done. They didn't get any reward. And that is why their reward will be in the afterlife. So Nursi says, the door of the mercy of God will be open to them and will reward them in a way that is beyond imagination. That is paradise. Paradise is something that, again, Nursi says, talking about the beauty of paradise, is that 1,000 years of happiness on this earth cannot be compared to 1 hour of the life of paradise. That is the reward. In one place, when he asks people to pray 5 times a day, and people complain, they say, this is very difficult to pray 5 times a day. Some, he says, evil commanding soul would say this, not people. Even evil commanding soul would say, praying 5 times a day, every day, that is too much. We cannot do that. And Nursi says, is paradise as a reward is a small reward? If people give you $1,000 per hour, you will work very much with remarkable, level of love, and you will be anxious. You will be loving to do that because the price is so high. Your wage is so high. Then he says, how about paradise? That is a remarkable reward. And that should encourage you. He talks to evil commanding soul. Oh, my soul, he says, this should encourage you. A reward like paradise is given. So there is paradise, there is hell in the afterlife. And this, just I mentioned 2 divine names, Al-Adl, the divine names Adl, and the divine names Rahim and Rahman. these are requiring the existence of the afterlife. So these are some names, divine names. When we go to Nursi's approach to the realm of nature, he refers to this Quranic verse, which says, look at the prints of the mercy of God. The one who has brought these back definitely will brought the dead people to life. فانظر إلى آثار رحمة الله كيف يحيي الموتى إن ذلك لمحيي الموتى إنه على كل شيء قدير. Look, inshallah, I read accurately the verse from my memory. Look at the mercy of Allah, how he brings the dead creatures to life. This power that brings the dead creature to life will bring the dead people to life in the afterlife. And he is powerful over everything. And for this, Nursi refers to the season of spring, for example. In winter, everything is dead. And in spring, they are resurrected. Almost identical. How this can happen? These tiny, tiny seeds. Again, he gives example from seeds. You put a seed underground, Nursi says, what do you expect? The seed is dissolved. And you think that it is done. It will not actually result in a tree, but actually it results in a tree. That dissolution, that becoming totally annihilated, is not the end. Actually, it is the beginning. And that's why he says, death is not the end, it is the beginning. It is the beginning of a new life. And that is why he refers to the Quranic verse, the verse in chapter Al-Mulk. Very beautiful explanation. I think I haven't found that explanation in any commentary. Nursi's commentary is very unique. That verse says, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. Blessed Allah, the one who has created heavens and earth. Sovereignty belongs to him. The one who has created life and death. Now, the connotation of this verse is that life is a gift from God and death also is a gift from God. Now, how death can be gift? Apparently, it is not a gift. It is a disaster. It is the end of life. But the Quran says it is a gift. And Nursi explains why death is a gift. First of all, he says, if there is no death, people on this planet will not be able to survive. Imagine the creatures in the sea or on the planet. All of them, since the beginning of their creation, they have been on this planet. They cannot, will not be possible to survive in those conditions. This is one dimension of it. So death actually is a gift, Nursi says. And second, he says, imagine your grandfather or grandmother, your ancestors are all present. they need help, and no one can take care of them. That is also a miserable situation. And therefore, death, again, he says, is a gift. And furthermore, death is not the end. It is the beginning of a new life. And actually, again, it could be a beautiful new life. It could be a terrible new life, based on the people's faith, based on the people's intention, sincerity, and the beauty and the purity of their heart. Because there is a verse in the Quran which says, on the day of judgment, nothing is beneficial. There is no benefits of money, wealth, all children, families. The only beneficial thing is a pure heart. The person who comes to the presence of God with a pure heart. Qalbun Salim, pure heart. That is beneficial. So it is so sensitive concept. What is helping in the afterlife? Good deeds. Yes, good deeds are important. With good deeds, good intention is included. Good deeds should be with good intention, always. Good intention is what counts in the afterlife. And that's why even you do small good things, your intention is high, your intention is big. Allah, because He is the most generous, actually the most generous also is another name, divine name that Nursi refers as the name that requires the existence of the afterlife, will reward you in the most generous way. So you intend to do something great, but you are not successful. You will be rewarded for your intention, even if you are not successful. It is so powerful and so sensitive in the Islamic teaching. So to just basically summarize what I have, I wanted to say and what I have said, there is God, there is His prophets, there are His prophets, and there is the final prophet in Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And the God that creates this universe is powerful to create the afterlife. The one who makes this planet, this palace, the entire planet is like a palace, is powerful to make another one. All these things that we see with our naked eyes that are at the utmost level of perfection, that are at the utmost level of design, beauty, all these are showing that there is a place that all these things will be perfectly applied, will be perfectly present. We have something, but they are ending. So that is weakness. And this powerful message that we see in the universe does not accept that weakness. That should be a place that is perfectly visible. This generosity should be perfectly visible. And that is not complete in this world. We taste and we go. Basically, that's what Nursi says. We taste something good and then we go. After a while, we die. Well, then our love for the one who gives this gift will turn into hatred, because you gave me something and then you gave me something and you took my life. But if it is eternal, then that love will continue eternally. And that's why he says, all these things that we see in the universe are actually requiring the existence of the afterlife. You know, in the beginning, we said this is an essential question of humanity. Basically, all philosophers have asked this. It is since the beginning of humanity, I think accurately we can say, it is since the beginning of humanity, this question is there. You know, who am I? Where I am coming from? And which is our topic, is where I am going to. Where I am going to. Well, the place we go, and we go, I say we go because we cannot stop. Can anyone say, I don't want to die and I will not die? No. It is a necessary result. It's inescapable. And therefore, we are going to the realm of eternity. And that is, Nursi very beautifully elaborates on this through logical explanations. There is one, and I think I like to finish with this anecdote. There is a very famous unbeliever, I would say, in Turkey. There was. He passed away a long time ago. His name was Abdullah, but because he did not believe in God, he was called Adullah, which means the enemy of God. But he was happy with that. He was not, he openly, he was saying that he does not believe in God. He says, I read in some places, I don't remember exactly the source, but I read in some articles about his life. He says that I did not believe in God and I did not believe in the afterlife. After I read Nursi's book called The Treatise of the Resurrection, I became doubtful. Now I am doubtful, really, it could be. Could be. So the person who was so extremely against the idea of the afterlife, after reading Nursi's writing, he said, well, that's a possibility. It could be. So thank you very much. And I will be glad to answer your questions.
Thank you, Hocam, for a very insightful lecture about the 10th word. We received some questions on the YouTube channel, the chat section, and please, everyone, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet and you like to be notified, please make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. And I would like to ask Yonara, our guest, my dear friend today, what her reflections are about the lectures. Can you tell us a little, about how this topic made you feel? If you have any questions, feel free to share with us your thoughts and, questions.
First of all, I really appreciate the lecture. It was a pleasure to be here. So thank you so much for inviting me. And I have to say that this has been extremely helpful because as he was explaining about death and beyond, there are a lot of people that do not believe in God. And there are a lot of people that think that God does not exist based on the fact of people dying, based on death. And I think the way he explained today that death is the new beginning, it makes sense. It explains. So people think, oh, like he explained, a lot of people do wrong things and you see them enjoying their life, but oh yeah, why am I going to be good if that's no real word? And people that do wrong, nothing bad happens to them. They don't get judged over here. But based on what he explained, you have to first believe in God. And you have to know inside of what's right and wrong, what's evil and good. So once you have the separation within you, based on the explanation that we received today, it's clear that as long as we do good, we will go to paradise. And as he said, that's no doubt. It's not about reward. It's not about accomplishment. It's about having a pure heart. So the focus is having a pure heart. And when you talk to someone that does not believe in God and does not believe that, there's life after that, we have a clear explanation to provide it to them that, as he mentioned, how can you imagine a letter without a writer? How can you have a program without an engineer? So that is God, that is life after that. And I'm sorry, but I have to, acknowledge this beauty right next to you over there. Hi,
It's
Kitty.
also a part of the lecture.
Yeah, and
Very
just,
interested hocam.
and we have to be able to explain that is justice. Justice is fulfilled after life, and that is reward for all the good deeds that we do over here. So I really appreciate it because this really gives hope. So when somebody says, "Well, I used to believe in God, now I don't because they let somebody died," but it's that is life. And I really appreciate it. I think that was a phenomenal. And now I can really talk to people when I get confronted about, oh, God doesn't exist. If it exists, He won't let somebody die. Oh, I've seen this. No, we will only see that once we pass from this life and beyond. But that is comfort in knowing that justice will be fulfilled. So don't worry about judging anyone. Don't worry about, thinking what is happening to them or what, now focus on doing good. Focus on being a person with a pure heart, and the rewards will collect, in the eternity.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear Yonara. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you, Nara.
also,
That's beautiful explanation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your comments and insights and totally agree with you. And we also received some questions on the YouTube chat box. And the first question from Kavi Lay, which we received even before the lecture started. He or she made sure that the question is on there. And I would like to start with that question.
Yes, please.
And it says there are three critical questions: where we came from, where we are going to, and why we came here. Could you explain what these questions mean and the answers to these questions with examples?
Yes. These questions require another lecture, perhaps, but very briefly. So, who are we, basically? Now, the Nursi wrote about 6,000 pages. So actually, if you look at them, there is a book called Human Beings and Faith. It's very beautiful explanation of the nature of human being. We are designed by the designer, if we can use this term, the creator, to be the supervisor in this universe. The supervisor. So we are responsible as a human being in this universe. Basically, if we look at the realm of creation, there are minerals, there are animals, there are human beings, and there are angels. We human beings, part of the realm of creation. But our level is not static. We can go up and can go down because we have power of choice. If we choose bad things, we will go down. And that's what the Quran says. Sometimes human beings can be lower than animals. If we do good things, we can be higher than angels even. So that is why human beings have a very unique place in this planet. And they are given certain period of time to live, like life expectancy. And they have a duty to fulfill, and that is the worship of God, to worship God, to do good things. That's basically all is included in the worship of God. So this is we as a human beings. We are higher than animals, but we have to be compassionate towards animals. There's one important point that we need to clarify. In Islam, human beings are very high. They are supervisor in this universe, but they do not have authority to do what they want. They are having limited authority, because all other creatures are also the creatures of God. So you have no right to harm them. Yes, you are part of that creation and you are higher, but you are also accountable for your actions. And that's why, for example, you cannot harm the world of nature, because the world of nature is a divine book. And therefore, you should not harm, you cannot harm. You cannot say, I am higher than all these creatures and I can do whatever I want. I can conquer the universe. No, you cannot. You are part of that. And you are the creature of God as other creatures are the creatures of God. So basically, it is, this taking us to the concept of environment, how you should deal with the environment. That is really part of the Islamic faith, the protection of the environment, because it is a divine book. So basically, to give a sense of who we are in this planet. The second question, where are we coming from? Now, in the Quran, there is a verse which says that human beings in the beginning, their soul was created. All human beings' soul was created. All those souls were created. And Allah said, this is a verse in the Quran, Alastu bi rabbikum. Am I not your Lord? And all said, yes, you are our Lord. So this is an early promise, a primordial promise that human beings have promised to the Creator, that they will recognize that He is the Creator and He is the Lord. But later people, when they come to this world, because in the Islamic teaching, life is a journey. You come from the realm of spirit to the womb of mothers, to this world, to the grave, which is barzakh. It's called barzakh. That means the period between grave life and the final resurrection, and to the afterlife, final place in the afterlife, either paradise or hell. So that is the journey of humanity. We are coming from there. Basically, now we are in a stage that is known as worldly life. It is one stage in this journey, and it's really short. It is short. That's why I have a kind of phrase, life is short, but love is forever. Because love is not ended with death. It is continuing. Life is short, but love is forever. And therefore, now where are we going? Well, the second stage will be the grave. But as I said, grave is a temporary place. It is the beginning of a new life, actually the first station in the afterlife. And then from there, at the final resurrection, all people will be resurrected and they will be judged. And the judge is Allah, the most just. And therefore, there is a verse in the Quran, even at the size of an atom, if you have done something that is good, you will see it. Even at the size of an atom, if you have done something evil, you will see it. You will encounter it in the afterlife. And therefore, based on the divine mercy, that's also a divine mercy, that one good things will be multiplied. Allah will give you tenfold. Why? Just because he's merciful. Just because he wants to give you more and encourage you to do more of goodness, of good things. And for punishment, it is like one bad thing will be punished for one bad thing. It's not multiplied. But the mercy of God, because there is a hadith Qudsi, it says, my mercy overcomes my wrath. My mercy is much more larger. So the mercy of God is much more larger. Therefore, it gives tenfold of good deeds. So I think this is, in a very short way, to explain these three questions. And I hope, inshallah, I answered your question. But these are very important questions.
Thank you very much, Professor Saritoprak. We have a few more questions, and this question comes from my dear friend from Pennsylvania here, Dr. Kim Shively. She says, can we think of the afterlife as the divine perfecting of what occurs on earth? Can we think of the afterlife as the perfecting, the process of perfecting of what occurs in life on earth?
The answer is yes. Actually, that is exactly what will be happen. You know, this world is a temporary place. The things that look very beautiful are temporary. That limitation becomes a deficit. But in the afterlife, there is no deficit. There is no deficit in the afterlife. Paradise is a perfect place. And that's why you don't see anything that is imperfect in paradise. Because the divine name's reflection is fully seen, is fully reflected. For example, justice is fully reflected. Beauty is fully reflected. Because one of the divine names is Al-Jamil, the most beautiful. The beauty that we see in this world, in comparison to that beauty, would be very, very little, very simple. So that is absolutely right. I would say, yes, that is the place where all things are becoming perfect, in a perfect level.
Thank you very much. And there is a comment which says, this comes from John, and he says, the best time to talk about hereafter during these COVID days.
Yes, he is right. I agree with him. It's very important because there is one statement of Nursi. He says, death is inescapable, but also is a gift, because when this life ends, it is not really the end. It is, don't be hopeless. There is a beautiful place waiting. Just do good things, and as emphatically mentioned, that be pure-hearted. Don't put any negative things in your heart. Be kind. You know, I was visiting a store, there was a good sign on it, be kind. And I showed to my daughter, you see, that's beautiful. Be kind, always be kind. I think that is reward worthy. Because as I said, and this is a Quranic verse, nothing will be lost. Nothing of your good things will be lost. Don't worry, there is nothing to be lost. And you will see the result of your good deeds. It doesn't matter, you don't get the reward in this life. That's not important. The real reward is in the one that is coming. And that is the greatest one.
I think we can also think about the true actions, the authentic and sincere actions that we do here, such as helping someone who is in need, we automatically receive this, inner reward, inner joy, as a sign that we have done something good. So this, instant joy and instant gratitude, instant joy that comes from that action is also, I think, maybe considered as a sign of the hereafter. It doesn't go for nothing. It's not for waste. You have a sign in you, you have a part in you which tells you that, this is a good thing. So there is a reward which we receive right here as well.
I think that's a very good point. And also in the nature of human being, Nursi says, once I asked my imagination, do you like 1,000 years with happiness, but then at the end, you will be nothing? Or do you like an eternal life, but sometimes good, sometimes difficult? And I realized that my imagination said, I like eternity, even if it is difficult. Even if it's difficult, I like to remain eternally. And he says, because this is in the human nature, and we die, there is no eternity, that shows that there is eternity. Because if there is no eternity, there would not be in our imagination, he would say. And I think you beautifully said, because this is in our nature, that we feel something that is good when we do some helping some people and we feel something good. That means there is a great goodness in the other side as well, in the other world, in the coming world.
And if I may add something, I think I'm walking over here tonight with it's not about accumulating treasures over here on earth. It's about looking forward to a greater reward. And it makes you focus more on giving, not just giving money, give it time, give a shoulder, give an ear. So it makes you become a giver than more than a taker. So what you inspired us, at least me tonight, it's, give, be good and help, because that is a greater reward than what we think that we accumulated over here on earth. But thank you.
Thank you.
Amara. We have one more question from Aisha Arun. She says, in Christianity, we're taught death is a parcel of the punishment of the fall from heaven. How is this in Islamic understanding?
No, in Islamic understanding, death is not punishment. Actually, it is gift. I don't know about Christianity. It's not my area of expertise. But from an Islamic perspective, as a Muslim theologian, death is not a punishment. Disasters can be punishment, but death itself is a divine gift. And sometimes, some earthquakes, some disasters can come. People, may be disobedient to Allah, to God, and there could be some consequences of that. Or people become so selfish, they don't think of others. All these negative things could have some consequences. But in the Quranic language, death itself is a gift from God, because it is organized. It is well organized. When people will die, and there is a balance, there is a remarkable plan for it. So it is a divine plan, and based on this divine plan, it is a gift. And the verse that I mentioned in chapter Al-Mulk definitely indicates that death is a gift from God.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Hocam. And they also ask in the chat that when is the next time that we will be able to listen Dr. Saritoprak, and what is the next lesson? So we need to discuss about that as well.
We will do that, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for the insights you have shared with us from Risale, from Nursi's perspective on the Quran. These are the Quranic understanding, Quranic concepts that we try to understand. We try to bridge our understanding at this time with the Quran by using Nursi's commentary. So thank you so much. We really appreciate your being with us here tonight, your time, your expertise, your sharing your knowledge with us. And next week, inshallah, we will talk about the topic of sickness. What is the role of sickness in our life? And especially in these days, where globally we are being challenged with COVID, virus and sickness. So we will talk about the wisdom behind sickness and how sickness can be a means for us to connect with our Creator. And please, again, I would like to remind everyone that if you haven't subscribed to our channel, if you like the program, if you are interested, please subscribe it and make sure you turn on your notification, and feel free to share it on social media with your friends, and we will do our best to continue. And feel free to send us your comments or questions or maybe topics of interest for our next sessions. We will definitely do our best to meet the needs that come from your side. Thank you so much. We are very grateful to be with you today, and we would like to see you next time, which is actually, I need to make another announcement here. As you all know, we have started as a weekly program, but based on a discussion, and we decided that it would be better for the people because to follow us in a bi-weekly fashion, because there is a lot going on social media, and these programs take a lot of efforts. We want to continue for a longer term. So the next program will be March 17th, Wednesday again, with Salih Yücel, Professor Salih Yücel from Australia, from Charles Sturt University. And we will talk about sickness next time, the wisdom behind sickness. Thank you so much. Thank you, Yonara, for joining us tonight. Is there anything you would like to say before we wrap up?
No, I just wanted to thank you all for the opportunity. I mean, I'm walking out of here today, and in fact, this is just I'm going to throw away my book where I keep records of people that have done bad things to me, so I no longer need that book. Now I know I can sleep in peace knowing that, oh, I don't need to keep track of what am I going to do. So, no, but thank you. It's eye-opening. It's really refreshing, because now I can help people that do not believe in God, and people that suffer with when they have that in families, to understand, that it's not the end. It's just the beginning. So I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hocam. And we look forward to seeing you again with us, inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
And have a great 2 weeks until we see each other again next time.
Yes,
Everyone.
okay. Thank you. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Take care. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.